Hello and welcome to the next pellet episode of Race Karts Rifles. Tonight on the table is 177 Air Arms Diabolo Fields. These are quite a common pellet, raved about quite a bit by different people, so they should be pretty good, we think. You get 500 in a tin. This tin costs $9.99 and they're in 8.4 grains, so sort of run-of-the-mill pellet really, run-of-the-mill high quality pellet should we say, as they are said world class air pellets, so they've got a lot to live up to as usual. As we know, I like nice bright tins. As you can see there, it's a nice bright tin. Get a representation of your pellets in there, which looks like an actual photo. So you know what you're getting rather than a generic CAD model, is what I'm trying to put across. They come out of the same factory as JSBs, or made by JSB to Air Arms' specifications. And like I said, and I'll go on and I'll prove it all anyway, but they do vary slightly. But there's your sort of proof from the JSB factory, typical JSB sticker on there, the square one, and then the price tag. Made on the 2nd of May 2016, so quite a recent pellet. Typical pop tin out of the JSB factory. You get the obligatory makeup pad. Now if you study this for a second, just pause that and have a look. I bet you'll find quite a few out around skirts on there. There's one about the 1 o'clock position just here. Whoop, there. There's another one actually around about the same position. Basically about 1 in 5 gives me an out around pellet. It's a bit frustrating whether I've got a dodgy tin, I don't know. But it doesn't seem to have that much effect on, to be honest with you, as you'll see as we go through this video. Quite a soft lead as a result, I think. Either that or they've got a very thin skirt, which I think might also attribute to it. So let's look at the pellets themselves in a bit more detail. This is a CAD drawing of one of these pellets that you can see there. You can pause and have a quick study of that, but if you look across the length of it, down right at the bottom of the screen there, you'll see they're about 6mm long, and the first 4mm of that is all lead, so they're very front end heavy, which, you know, it'd be interesting to see how that performs. They have got quite a thin skirt at around about 0.5mm thickness at the final end of it, but it's quite like I said, a front forward heavy pellet. Good radius on the head there, not as much as what the JSBs were. I've done CAD models for all of these. This will be the format I go with from now on. A diameter of head about 4.48mm. Look at the pellet there. I've got one that was sectioned, so that one on the right hand side is actually a sectioned pellet. I'm trying to use the force there to focus, and you can see there how it sort of mirrors. I'll try and it just moved for us actually, that was interesting. I don't know if there's a ghost in the house, but you can see there again that the weight is completely forward of the thing. The pellet, as I section it, will sort of, you know, the tail of it will move around, suggesting there is quite a thin sort of skirt. You get a nice little tracer off a lamp with these as well, because the weight's so far back. You get a nice big sort of flash off this area here, this 2mm sort of area. Nice round head there, as you can see. There isn't any sort of forging lines or anything like that, like split lines or anything. They're a really clean pellet. This is the data chart for them, so again you can have a quick study of that. You know, 32 sample study. You can see the spreads down the bottom there, the very bottom of the screen, for each one. So I'll quickly zoom out and you can have a quick study of that. You know, if you're quick enough, you'll be able to calculate how it performs. So overall, this is something that I'm just going to start hoying into these, which is the good old-fashioned deformation test, which you used to do by squeezing them. Now I'll quickly cover what I do. So this is quite a solid, thick piece of card. You know, it's, you know, I think that's about on par with the bone of an animal, and I shoot it straight through there into the blue tack so I can retrieve it, and then I end up with little scones like these. Pellets just wiggled everywhere, so you can see how it all deforms as it goes into the aperture. These deform and it pulls around the top, so you end up getting, if I can put it on the floor on there, it's going to be hard to sort of get it, but basically you end up with if I can take a picture and stitch it, it'll be even better. You get like the head sort of pulls around the skull. If you can see there, that top one, how it mushrooms up on itself. But they deform, they really do deform. They pull a lot of meat around. you know, if that's what it's doing in there in blue tack, it's going to grab all the meat and pull it all around as well. So it's going to be a nice clean sort of execution there, I would say. Probably not the best word to use, but I'm trying to focus the camera at the same time as saying it. So this is just a little bit of data about it. So from the group sizes that we did, we got a 7.5mm group from our 10 shots, an 8mm group and a 5.5. There's the prices that you can see there. As you can see, 8.4 grain. Our mean of all of these numbers here for our graining was 8.44, so slightly on the heavy side really from what they're supposed to be. They're basically on par with just about the with the air arms, not the air arms. What was it? The day states. Webley VMXs, I think they were the same, you know, so they're quite a common weight for a 177. You get 500 per tin. I put the material as soft because I think it is. So let's have a quick look at the grouping sheets because we all want to see them. So these were shot on the 1st of the 7th, you know, typical setup, exactly the same, S410. This was the leading in one, and I was half tempted to use it because that's a genuine 4.5mm centre to centre group, and you know that's very, very tight. That's the tightest I've ever shot. So our first one shot 5.5mm, 8mm for this one. For some reason it's spread out. I'm going to put that down to getting a load with dodgy tails. And then the third one, 7.5mm. And I've just, you know, see if I can get that in there. You can, you know, 7.5. Well, I've measured them anyway. Oh no, 8mm. So not 10mm. 8mm. If you can see it, make it out. And then 5.5mm across. There you go for the day state fans. That's actually a tear. Isn't it? No, it's not. It is actually a pellet mark. But I'm struggling to get the focus on the camera, to be honest. But basically it starts about there and comes across. No, that's not it. What the hell's going on here then? Okay, so some obligatory editing there because I had a little bit of a wobble on my 5.5mm group. I had to confirm that this was actually a tear, and it is a tear. So yeah, basically the pellets caught it, and I almost picked that one that's just dropped up on the floor as well, that other sectioned one. All fingers and thumbs today, but as you can see, there you go, there's your 5.5mm genuine centre to centre group. So these are grouped extremely tight. As you can see, we've got the scores here, scores on the doors. Air Arms Diabolo Field, Aerodome, 8.4 grain. So dimensional spread to give us our quality score, gets a quality score of 0.45. Cost score came in at 0.33. As you can see from there, if you add them up and divide them by 3, you end up with 9.33, so 50p cheaper than our current score leader. Quantity score 500, which is fairly standard, to be honest. And your delivery score, when you take all of these and divide them by 3, you end up with a lovely number 7. So where does that leave us? Final scores. It's right there. It's gone straight to the top. Because if you remember at the start when I did the Air Arms Diabolo Fields, if it scored the same, it was tied on 144. We'll go for the delivery because that's what we're interested in. And it was a whole 1.2mm tighter overall on the grouping over the 30 shots than what the day states were. Now, interestingly, there is something else that I'm going to quickly edit to right now that I want to sort of share with you. So one area that we do need to cover with pellets, I think, is actually the long range capability. Now the reason I'm doing this is because some dipshit on airgun BBs had a bit of a rant and said that an airgun can't hit rimfire ranges. Well, they can, unfortunately, and we regularly do that down at Barbie. This is one target which, you know, started it all off. Here's another target, we do 60 yards, and then we've got some at 80 there. But they're a mess. So ultimately what I'm trying to do is get some logic and some order into this. So what I've done is I've overlaid these out. And the night that these were all shot, there was a 3 mile/hour wind, 22 degrees to me, so basically about 7 o'clock if you looked at my head shooting down the range. So I'm in a tailwind slightly from the left. Now these have been recentered onto the actual thing. So we're only interested in the group size. We're not actually interested in accuracy, because that would just take forever. I'd be there all night just taking one damn shot, watching blades of grass swaying. So what we've got ultimately is we've got 60-yard target and then the 80-yard target. We've got day states, air arms fields, everything we've reviewed basically in this little series. The Falcon Accuracy Plus is the JSB Exacts, the air arms match, and the Mystery Pellet. Now the VMXs, I only managed to get 3 on it at 60 yards. 80 yards, it was just never ever going to happen. And I haven't done all the 80 yarders yet, but I'll make sure that gets done. It's just obviously you want to be shooting when the conditions are pretty much like that. You've just got a breath of wind, so that you get as little interference as you can off the wind. So let's just quickly run through what we've actually got then. So if we start with the 2 main contenders. Now what I've done with this is I've basically at the 60 yards done discs and spots and circles, just so that there's no interference, because as you can see down where we get to the air arms match, we've got one down here which may look like it's part of the Mystery Pellet. So Day State Rangemaster Sovereign at 60 yards gives you can get within an inch at 60 yards on this, and this one here is actually, just a flyer. When I'm out there, I've got people banging and bumping the tables when they're reloading. If your crosshair's constantly shaking, so it's not the easiest of times to do it. But hey, you can't have everything your own way. Out to 80 yards, we haven't actually got that much difference in reality, which sort of backs up that this one here was just probably a bang on the table, or myself just not concentrating enough, because I put 4 decent ones in and then the last one just drops. Here you can see they are actually really tight still at 80 yards. You're definitely going to hit something with it, that's for sure, whatever you're aiming at. Air arms fields at 60 yards, all well within the 1-inch disc. Very tight group, and really impressed with that pellet with its long range capabilities. The review's just gone up on YouTube about them. However, at 80 yards they tend to spread out quite a bit. Not quite sure why that is. But either way, past 60 yards, so between sort of 60 and 80 yards really. It's from 70 mark onwards, you could say, really they're starting to already sort of spread out. Up to 60 yards though, we can hit anything that we want. We can certainly bash a bunny at that range. Falcon Accuracy Plus at 60 yards, again super tight. I haven't actually managed to get this one out at 80 yards. I thought I'd done it, but I hadn't. I must have missed it that night. But still, damn good show at 60 yards for such a light pellet. You'd expect that to be sort of whizzing all over the place. But hey, that's why it's in I think it's in 3rd place on the list at the minute, isn't it? JSB Exacts. Now I'm slightly disappointed by the long range capability of this. This is the best it could manage at 60 yards, which is 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. But then when we get out to 80 yards, as you can see, we're horizontally, vertically, we're pretty much sound. It's just vertically it tends to drift quite a bit. I'm not quite sure why that is. It wasn't shot any different. There was no sudden gusts of wind or anything. I wasn't shooting when there were. I was literally just watching a blade of grass just sort of swaying and just waiting for it to stand still, and then off we go. What did surprise me actually at 60 yards was the air arms match for a flatted pellet. Now, yes, granted, absolutely none of them have gone within the 1-inch disc, but as you can see here, we've got 3 really tight ones, and then 2 sort of rogue ones. These ones you could actually see them sort of like spinning out into the target, which I was surprised when I got these 3 so tightly. But yeah, the air arms match at 60 yards. You can't use it for hunting at that range, but certainly if you can compensate and try and tidy these 2 up and inspect your pellets, you might be able to even get them within 60 yards. So 80 yards, it's not applicable. I will shoot them, but I'm not that confident that it's going to be even on the paper, to be fair. It's probably going to be sort of around here somewhere. And then the Mystery Pellet. Now this is going to be reviewed very shortly. Someone just threw this tin at me, literally just threw it at me. We were, yeah, and this goes to the dickhead on airgun BBs. We were shooting clays out at about 115 yards. And he was getting slightly tighter groups than what I was. I could see through the scope, which is basically he was shooting, I was shooting. And mine was kind of popping around, you know, the circumference, and occasionally you get a hit. You know, but I mean, we're talking, we're just grazing the circumference. You can see the dust in the bank sort of flicking up all the time, and his was and he was just slightly tighter than what mine was. You know, and I tried his pellets, and straight away the first one smashed the clay, second one smashed the clay, third one smashed the clay. Thought, oh, here we go. And then I started to notice that all of a sudden it started peppering around again, and then, you know, you'd hit your clay again. So the mystery target, it never got shot out to 80 yards, but I'm expecting big things from this one. Expect a review pretty soon. You'll notice the distinct lack of Webley VMXs. That's because, to be honest with you, they're crap at about 20, well, they're crap at 40 yards, let alone 60. You know, that past like I said, 20 yards, as we've seen in that review, they can't hit jack shit. So, you know, excuse me for my French, but they are a really poor pellet. Close range, it's still not that good really, but you know, hey. This concludes this little top up anyway, for the thing. What I'm going to start doing in my pellet reviews is I'm going to make sure that when the pellet review goes out, you've actually got this data in there stitched onto the back of it. There won't be any more of these little one-off reviews spouting off. It's just I need to get all the pellets caught up to where I am going forward, which you'll have seen with the air arms review is quite a, you know, an in-depth analysis. This is just going to round it off. So, as usual, feel free to comment, don't troll. If you want the 60 yarders putting in as part of a multiplier, then feel free to comment on that and say, yeah, okay, we'll do a multiplier. I'll say we'll do boundaries, so if they go within inside an inch, all pellets, and I'm talking basically it has to be touching, you know, from the center to the bar. Within there, it'll maybe get like 3 points. If it's all inside like these are, say the which one's all inside, yeah, like this Mystery Pellet here, that maybe score 4. We could maybe do it where that one would score 3 because it's just touching all the edges. We'd give that one a 4 as well. We'd let air arms off with that one. This one would say, because, you know, I could even just do it a point for each one that's inside the circle. And do it that way. But either way, feel free to comment as always. Don't troll. And yeah, stay safe, shoot straight. Thanks, bye.